First question, when we refer to animal realm, does this mean all the animals in Africa? Can they become, or how do they become enlightened? Or can they go to Pure Land? Do they need to go through a human realm? I guess you're from Africa, because you care about animals in Africa. When you refer to animal realm, it does not just mean animals in Africa. Other than animals in Africa, there's so many animals in every part of the world, animals in every location of the world. Can they become enlightened? Or can they go to the Pure Land? Every sentient being has that chance of going to the Pure Land. It depends on, are there any cause for producing an effect for them to go to the Pure Land? In other words, according to causality, have they cultivated any cause of going to the Pure Land? For example, say in Richmond or in Vancouver, here's a person, he has never heard of the Pure Land, he has never heard of the Buddha's teaching, and one day he was driving by Stephenson Highway between number 3 and number 4, and he saw this temple, and then he was curious, and he parked his car in the parking lot, and he went in, and he heard a lot of chanting, and he wanted to inquire more about Buddhism. And finally he wound up on a Saturday class and he started to listen more about the Buddha's teaching, and then he becomes so fervent with learning it, then he will become the Buddha. He didn't know anything about before. So the most important is to cultivate cause. If you are a Bodhisattva, you try to cultivate cause not only for yourself, but for all sentient beings. That's the reason why people are donating to build places of spirituality, places of worship. And this kind of culture is very prevalent in China, in Asia. People in China and in Asia, they are very enthusiastic about building temples and spreading the Dharma and publication of books, because they know that that would produce a lot of good Dharma, a lot of good effects for a lot of people. Whereas in the Western culture, in North America, they still haven't, the habit hasn't been there yet. In other words, they do more charity work on keeping the present life happy, temporary happiness, building hospitals, nursing homes, and working on bettering human lives, but they haven't really thought about, or not too much extent has been given to thinking about how about after life, how about the spiritual part of it, other than the materialistic part of it. Materialistically, we can look after our folks, but how about spiritually? Should we look after the folks even after death? Or is there any life after death? So people are more and more geared towards that spiritual thinking. Anyway, animals, not just in Africa, in every part of the world there are animals. And do they get enlightened? Yes, as long as they encounter the right moment, they will get enlightened. Maybe they have already cultivated a seed of enlightenment in their previous life. And it's just because of the bad actions or speech that they have done that they reincarnate into animal. Maybe after this life, they reincarnate into human again. There was a heavenly king, because there's 28 heavens, a lot of heavens. The king of heaven, in that particular heaven, he knew that after he died, he would reincarnate into this world, the world that we're living in, as a mule pulling a grinding mill. They put wheats in it, rice and grains in it, and they have the mule pulling that grinding mill. And this king of heaven, he knew that his time was up. He enjoyed millions of years of longevity, all the happiness. And now, after his good karma is gone, he'll reincarnate into that mule, into a mule. But he was so sad. He went to the Buddha and asked for the Buddha's help. Bhagavate, can you help me out? I'm going to reincarnate into a mule. And the Buddha taught him to prostrate and worship, make prostrations and make repentance. With enthusiasm, with his whole heart. And he did that. And at one moment, when he was kneeling down and prostrating, a thought comes up in his mind, a dream came up in his mind. He reincarnated into that mule. He was pulling that grinding mule. And next to the grinding mule, there was a pottery business. Making pottery, pots and flower vases and all that. When the mule was released for a break, the mule went into that pottery factory, small little factory, and he started to be so active that he was jumping around. He was so naughty that he was jumping around because he was so happy. And he kicked all these pots into pieces. So the factory owner came out and used a rod to beat him to death. This mule broke all my pottery, so he just hit him and beat the mule to death. And that the king was having a dream like that. And we woke up, he died. And the Buddha told him that you already have reincarnated. It's like a ping pong effect. You're going down to that reincarnation, you bounce up again. You still have to go down because you're destined for getting into that animal realm. But then because of the good effect that you have done, then you bounce up again. So it happened that way. You understand what I mean? So an animal can get enlightenment too. Next question. Is it okay to seek the help of a spiritual guidance in life? What do you mean by spiritual guidance? You mean a particular person, your mentor who is always standing by your side and telling you what to do? You already have come every Saturday, and we already have learned a lot from it. Now it's you who carry it out. The mentor told you how to do it, then you have to walk it out. You have to walk away. The mentor gave you the map to Victoria, even gave you the ticket. The mentor told you how to get to Nanaimo to cross the ferry to Victoria, and you've got to walk to the ferry. You got to drive to the ferry. You can't just say, mentor, get me there. You're relaxing at home and say, mentor, get me to Victoria. No, you got to do it yourself. People tend to be lazy, you know. They always want like a McDonald's hamburger. I give you the money and you give me the hamburger and I just stick it in my mouth. That's all. Fast food, fast enlightenment. Everything is fast. Are you kidding? We've been here for 10 years and we haven't enlightened a bit. So, no fast food in here. Next question. How can I do that? My life will become better and better. That takes the whole book to talk about. How do I do to make my life become better and better? How to be, first of all, learn to be a better person. Learn to stay away from evil deeds. Learn to be a better person first. What's the first step in learning to be a better person? Take precepts. Learn about things that you shouldn't be doing. You should not kill. You should not steal. You should not commit sexual misconduct. You should not, by being intoxicated, you should not harm others. Confine your actions with a morality foundation. Other than not doing bad deeds, encourage yourself to do good deeds. Other than not killing animals, release animals. Other than not killing the whales, promote a campaign for saving other whales. Not just negatively not doing it, positively doing it. In some countries, they are torturing the bears for the bile liquid for medicine. They caught the black bears, open the inside of the body, rip it open, and every day they suck out the bile liquid from the bear. And they've been doing it for 20 years. The bear was suffering in a cage. And many years ago, before they built up experiences for getting bile like that, they let the bears in the cage without tying their hands onto the bars. Some of these bears, they suffer so much, every day rip open their chest, putting out sucking out the bile liquid. The bear suffered so much that the bear committed suicide by putting out the biles inside because they too much suffering. Imagine if you're a bear and you're being cut open, put a tube into your bile duct, into your bile, and suck out the bile liquid and use that for medicine. And they have been doing it for 20 years on a bear. A bear can last 20 years for that. They feed the bear with food every day. The bear was suffering so much that they committed suicide by putting out their own bowels and just killed themselves. But they tied their hands onto the bar and continued to suck the bile liquid out. And there was this lady in North America, this American, she promoted a campaign to save the bears. He went to that country and organized a campaign, petitioned to the government. And here's the mother of bears. She was famous for the mother of bears. I saw her. So there are people who promote meritoriously to save animals. There are people who kill animals. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the savior? Or do you want to be the killer? Or do you want to be that bear? Why did that bear become that bear to be tortured? He had done some bad deeds that the karmic force pulled him to the reincarnation of becoming a bear. You see, everybody is given choices to do what they would do. And if we're all ignorant, we tend to do the wrong thing. Wouldn't it be good if you yourself, other than seeking spiritual guidance, became other people's spiritual guidance? Tell them what they should do and what they shouldn't do. That's the Bodhisattva's way of enlightenment. Can you do that? Not just bettering yourself. That's how can I better myself in life? How can I do that my life will become better and better and better? Why can you even think about how can I make life better for others? I think by the time when you think life better for your family, for others, then you will better yourself. I want to better myself egoistically. I don't care about hurting you, but I want to better myself. Can you render your compassion out? Now, I have started on the Sutra of Amitabha Buddha, and this is a very important sutra. And sure, we have to learn meditation. But, as I always mention, in those ancient days, in the Dharma period, 500 years after the nirvana of Buddha, there are still people who become enlightened, become arahats. In the first 1,000 years, there are people, in the first 1,000 years, the Dharma age, 正法时代, the Dharma age, the Dharma period, is the first 1,000 years after the demise of the Buddha, the nirvana of the Buddha. There are still people who, through their practice of the Buddha's teaching, become enlightened as arahats, away from reincarnation. In the Dharma resembling age, which is another 1,000 years, which is 2,000 years from the Buddha's demise, the Buddha's death, very few people get enlightened. Why? Because in the first 1,000 years, there are still people who concentrate in the practice of meditation. They meditate for 20 hours per day. Maybe 4 hours for housekeeping and eating, 20 hours per day. They meditate 20 hours per day. Can you meditate 20 hours a day? Not even 20 minutes a day. You meditate for 20 minutes a day and you expect to be a Buddha in this lifetime? Very difficult. So what's the best way? The expedient way. The best way is we all have to die anyway. When you die, don't come back here again. Go to the land of bliss, Amitabha's land, where Amitabha is your mentor. You told me you're looking for spiritual guidance. The best spiritual guidance is not from me. It's from Amitabha Buddha. So once you passed away, don't come back again to look for me. I won't be around, hopefully. So you go to Amitabha's Pure Land, and Amitabha will be waiting for you in there. Avalokitesvara will be the assistant professor. Mahasmamaprapta will be the assistant professor, and they will be teaching you on your way to spiritual success and become enlightened as Arahat. You won't come back. Because the people going over there will have non-retrogression. In other words, they won't come back to reincarnation again. Are you not safe in there? Sure, you are safe. That's heaven. That's the concept of heaven. You're going there, you will never come back again until you become the Buddha in there. You're not a Buddha yet. You are a disciple. You are a student registered in there. That is a university of non-retrogression, a university of continual enlightenment to nirvana. You've got to learn all these three important sutras. The sutra on Amitabha Buddha, the sutra on the 16 visualizations of the Buddha of infinite life, and the sutra on Amitabha. In the Chinese language, 无量寿经, 观无量寿经, 阿弥陀经. All these you have to learn. And once you grab these three sutras, you follow the practice in there. You're on your way to that Pure Land. In other words, I try to give you the application form. You've got the application form. Fill it in nicely. Don't just scribble on it. Fill it in nicely. Write your essay on it, so that you will be accepted. Hopefully you will be accepted in there. Okay, that's all for today.